Rainer Maria Rilke's poem Childhood was first published in 1902. The poem is written in 33 lines of rhymed iambic pentameter verse and fits into four irregular stanzas. The poem addresses loneliness and the passage of time. Let's see the summary of the poem. Childhood begins with the speaker addressing a child who is in school, describing the child's feeling of boredom, loneliness, and alienation from other children. Adopting the language of a typical schoolboy's view of the world, the speaker says, "Time in school drags along with so much worry and waiting, things so dumb and stupid." The speaker contrasts this negative representation of school with the joy the child feels after school. When school lets out, the boy is free, the world now expansive and inviting. These feelings are illustrated in the images of heaping fountains and mysterious woody places. However, even in his newfound freedom, the boy still feels strange and different from others. This difference is illustrated in the image of him walking oddly. In the second stanza, the speaker foregrounds his point of view as someone looking back on childhood. He compares the terror of childhood with the trust of adulthood as evoked in the images of men and women, a house and a dog, and both marvels at and grieves the change. Even though the poem is written from a third-person point of view and attempts to characterize the child's changing view of the world, the narrator is clearly present and makes his feelings known. The poem returns to images of childhood in stanza 3, this time to the boy playing at dusk as the light fades away. The green place is descriptive metaphor for a park or a lawn. As dusk settles, an adult, most likely a parent, grabs the hand of the boy and leads him away. The oceanic vision that is fading can refer to both the boy's disappointment at having to stop playing and the speaker's sense of loss and pain in remembering his boyhood. The progression of the events in this stanza are typical of the events of a child's day. In the last stanza, the speaker compares fading childhood to the sailboat the child is playing with that sinks. The imagery here is dreamlike, underscoring the confusion of a child's mind and the place of memory itself. The sails more beautiful than yours suggests people more beautiful and lives more beautiful than the child's and the narrator's. The pale, narrow face is the face of the child himself, and his puzzling about the future is also the speaker's mourning of the past. The poem ends with the child wondering where childhood will lead him. In the poem Childhood, Rilke uses imagery in much the same way as painters do. For example, he uses successive image of the child being anxious, then happy, and then mournful to illustrate the rapid emotional changes that occur in childhood. In the foreground are the child's experiences, and in the background is the speaker's commentary on those experiences. Just as a painter uses the technique of chiaroscuro to produce the illusion of depth, Rilke uses images of light and darkness to evoke emotional volatility and psychological depth. For Rilke, memory is a tool used to unlock the mystery of human existence. The speaker alternates between describing the child's reactions to his surroundings with making statements commenting on those reactions. At the end of the third stanza, after describing the child playing and then being led home by an adult, the speaker writes, "Such oceanic vision that is fading, such a constant worry, such weight." Statements such as these describe the state of mind of the adult speaker as much as they describe the state of mind of the child. The child is a younger version of Rilke himself, and by describing the child's confusion and feelings of alienation, Rilke is in fact describing his own ongoing experiences of the same. In this way, He presents the relentless demands of memory as an affliction that the poet must exorcise and exercise. Though the child dreads the prison like atmosphere of school and celebrates his freedom, when the school days end by playing tag with others, he feels alone and is aware of how different he is from other children. This condition of otherness is a theme that runs throughout Rilke's poem and one he links to loneliness. Rilke evokes the feeling of loneliness both in imagery and statement. For example, in the second stanza, the adult speaker reflects on the child's being suddenly thrown into the adult world, lamenting, "What crazy mourning, what dream, what heaviness, what deepness without end." In the last stanza, the boy, playing with a sailboat, worries about other boats that are better than his and contemplates the meaning of his life while gazing into a pond.